Hello. Welcome back to Danger Recall, everyone. Yes, my name is Colin Hubbard. This is part 10 of Danger Recall. We are going to be talking about episode 12. And you never know, we might get to episode 13, but these are quite big episodes now, so I think we might stick to it. I have some guests here today. With me on Danger Recall today are Scott. Hello, Scott.
Hi.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Good to see your face.
Good. Yeah, you too. I can see your face as well. It's a good face.
I mean, obviously, we're not in the same room. We're recording this remotely. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, we're getting better at this, aren't we? Hopefully. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see how this turns out. With me as well is Ross. How you doing, Ross?
Hello, Colin Hubbard. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah. How are you?
I am wonderful. Had me morning coffee, so feeling awake and alive. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, awake, alert. I'm alive, awake, alert. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic.
Is that what you make the performers do at Two Swords?
yeah, of course, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And of course we have Dan Thompson. How you doing, Dan?
Hello, good morning and welcome. I have my coffee. I am less awake, less alive, less alert, and just as enthusiastic about this because we've got some good episodes coming up.
Oh, yeah, these are really good ones, aren't they? Thank you for coming on the show, gentlemen. I mean, yeah, it's only probably going to be people from the show on the show. So
is it?
I can't invite.
You never know. You never know. One day, Peter Andre or Stephen King might accept one of our repeated invitations.
Oh, Stephen King. We got a little deep dive on him in a little bit. Well, actually, it's not a deep dive. It's just more of a
exciting
mention. But anyway, yeah, on one of these episodes, I'm not sure if it's episode 12, episode 13 or 14. I listened to all of these episodes, Dangerlings, over the past yesterday and today. How did you feel about episode 12, team?
Yeah, good. The first thing I noted down was R.I.P. headphone users. I believe that might be largely down to Mr. Bowskill's intro, where I literally sort of like tried to jump away from my phone and the headphones, trying to make the pain stop.
Yeah, man, he jumped straight into that, didn't he? Like, this is episode 12. This is called Bad Manners. Dan, do you want to explain the title, Bad Manners?
I mean, you go to a man. Some of them are really complicated. This one, you go to a manor house and bad things happen. Also, bad manners is a phrase. I should have called it ill manners. Really, gone for a Plan B reference. Exactly. That would have been the proper way of getting it.
I mean, that's where I thought you were going as well. I thought this was a whole Plan B reference. Plan B, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is a rapper from I'm not sure whereabouts, but he's from South London, I think. And he might be East London. I'm not sure. He's also an actor as well called Ben, what's his last name?
Ben, yeah, that's his name.
Ben Planison, I believe.
Yeah, he was in a couple of films. He's quite a scary dude, actually. He's cool. So Bad Manners, featuring music from Kevin MacLeod, Sword Coast, Soundscapes, and Ross Budgeon. Has anyone got an intro, like a summary of this episode today?
Yeah, I can go for it's pretty straightforward. You meet, you guys find Filton Legg's body hanging from a tree, investigate it. There's loads of evidence that makes it look like it might be the carnival, but it's pretty obvious evidence. So you have a fight with Sheriff Feldane, not a literal fight, but an argument, and then decide to go and you find some other evidence linking it to Arnahim Brayton, who runs a shipping company, and you decide to go to his manor house to find out what is going on, where you are ambushed by a number of assailants.
Nice. Yeah, good summary there. That's all that happened, really, you know.
They're getting shorter now, aren't they? I'm getting better at them.
Yeah. The first one, Dan was like, okay, so one day...
Let me explain Pathfinder.
Once upon a time... Yeah, I've been on numerous chats to the Danger Club team, Dangerlings, trying to say, listen, keep your summaries as a summary, yeah? And I've been sending that out to the whole team, but mainly it's for Dan. I'm only joking. I'm only saying that because he's here. I wouldn't say it behind his back or anything. Do you know what I mean? Because
he'll just do it live.
I'm going with that.
He'll just do it live on air. So that's the only time.
No, I think we're all guilty of that, though, aren't we? We can sort of get into one and just start going, oh, yeah, do you know what? I want to do this thing. And all of a sudden it's 10 minutes long.
It's interesting.
I mean, that was literally the reasoning for what part of the reasoning for getting James to host Dangerous Wednesdays was like, could you come on and stop these from being 2 hours long? Tell me to shut up when I talk too much.
Yeah. All right, so we start with the Brian Blessed intro. Yeah, that blew all our headphones to pieces. Thank you very much, Drumballs. You can't be here today, but we're thinking about you because our ears are still hurting.
Yeah.
And then we have this lovely bit, which I love, Scott. Right, you have the Donde está, sorry, and then you do the. Can you do it now? Would you be able to do it?
He just as soon as because I didn't note that down, and as soon as you started talking about it, I was like, no, I'm not going to do it because I listened to the episode and I was like, I only barely pass it with like a nanoseconds worth of heads up and barely do it like from memory at the time. So no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave that to the pros that did it originally on Community. I'm not going to try and do it again. It stands as it is. But I did note down, Colin. I think we said shortly after that we should have a rap battle. And I don't know if that was just me and you. I might have inferred that to be the Danger Club, but that could be some kind of different content at some time if you want to listen to a bunch of white people do a rap battle with each other.
Get on the Discord.
Works for Marshall Mathers, so hey.
Works for Marshall Mathers. There's a lot of other rappers out there as well. There's Macklemore. There's Everlast from House of Pain.
Who's the other guy that Dan Harmon likes and puts on most of his shows? He got reference on Rick and Morty.
Logic.
Logic, yeah.
Logic is actually mixed raced, but
is he?
Yeah, he because his skin is quite pale. He often gets confused for a white person.
It's very good. It's very good. Anyway, I often think like when Dan Harmon sticks on like music at the end of his stuff, you're always like, oh really? Is this just a shoe in from your thing? And then you listen to it and you're like, yeah, it's a pretty good tune, actually. Like that song, Damn, I Wish I Was Your Lover as well, comes on the end of one of the Community episodes. You're this is just, come on, this is not going to be. And then everyone sort of goes, yeah, it's a pretty good song, actually. I'm quite into it.
So you mentioned that Donde Está la Biblioteca, I can't even say it properly. Haven't warmed up my vocal cords yet, Dangerlings, I'm so sorry. That is from Community, isn't it? That's from an episode of Community where they are doing a Spanish test and Troy and Abed decide to create a rap so they can remember their Spanish words. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Aye.
It's right at the end, isn't it? Like they do like right at the end. There was always like I think they did in that season. They do like a thing every episode. They do something at the end. It's like Troy and Abed, which is
like like an extra bit of content.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
that show is the reason I haven't seen any 80s movies because I've watched Community about 5 times all the way through, even the bad season. Love that show.
Yeah, so good.
It is a great show. If you haven't watched Community, go out. It's on Netflix. It's on in the UK anyway. It might be on Netflix and or other streaming platforms. Go and find it. Community. Donald Glover is in it, who's amazing in that show. Actually, all the cast are pretty amazing, to be honest.
They're all solid in it. Donald Glover does an amazing turn. He's also, as we know, a professional musician as well, as Childish Gambino, which is maybe part of the reason why his accidental raps sound pretty bloody good.
Yeah, accidental, definitely. All right, so we meet
credit so much credit to Danny Pudi for like when they do their duet raps for like doing a rap alongside Childish Gambino as a non-musician. That's got to be so intimidating.
Yeah, absolutely. Bearing in mind, I think Childish Gambino wasn't Childish Gambino at that point in time. Maybe a little bit into Community, maybe. Yeah. But even still, I mean, Donald Glover is noted for being one of these people that just never stops working. Like, if he's on set on a film or a TV show or whatever, as soon as they yell cut, he doesn't sit there and get a coffee and have a chat. He picks up his headphones and he starts doing some beats, or he starts working on a song that he's been working on. He never stops, or writing a sketch. He's notable for just being one of these workhorses. And whenever people try and have a conversation, he's just like, I got stuff to do, man. And he's just like goes into it. I don't know if that was a good impression of
Watch Atlanta. It's so good as well.
Atlanta is so amazing. Good. Yeah, his body of work is just phenomenal. One of these people that could win an Oscar, he could win a Grammy. What's the trio that you can do? The Oscar, Grammy, and
BAFTAs?
Swimming.
That's the one. Yeah, you can find him a badge. And I don't know if he's good at swimming, but Donald Glover, tweet us. Let us know.
He's a workaholic when he's not busy rinsing Chevy Chase, as he is in a lot of the bloopers and outtakes for Community. Yeah. There's a lot of zingers going on when cut gets called.
Do you know what? I haven't watched the bloopers. I'm going to do that. Now, we're 10 minutes into this episode already, and we haven't even done the intro yet. Right, we find out that Fleabag is the favourite cat out of Scruffy and Fleabag, Fulton.
Yeah. The other, Fleabag, nah. Yeah.
Nah. We also find out that Scott, you were telling someone in the green room about your podcast, and they were like, "Yes, Scott, you've told me 6 times."
Yep, I was doing a lot of promo then. I was doing a lot of physical promo. Feels weird now to be doing it physically when you're talking to people and giving them things and then saying, "Hey, look at this," as opposed to screaming at them over the digital highway, the World Wide Web.
It's quite weird because we were quite small, but we still already have listeners in Vietnam and Alabama and Canada, don't we? We've got Alabama Chris.
Yeah, first mention of Alakar on the show with that one.
Alakar on the show, yeah.
I mentioned because he'll be listening to this at least, of one of them. I remember like James and I had an on-running, because there was that time where it was kind of, we promoted it in gaming shops and whatever places we worked, and that was kind of our initial audience along with people I knew. And there was like a running Cold War for about a year with me and James versus the Tower of London, where we would put a flyer for the Danger Club podcast up somewhere, it would go in the bin, and then the next day another one would appear on there. And gradually, I think one person out of that subscribe to it. Hey, Will. So we got one listener. He's not a Patreon subscriber, so he won't hear this. But we got one person.
In the future, you never know.
Yeah, one day.
I went into an old place of work lately, an old green room, to collect some costume, and the flyer that I put up in there years ago is still there. Still there. They also have a leak and a flood. And not many people working in there because it's pretty much a closed venue, but nonetheless, it still remains.
I love the fact that we are still alive somewhere. Sorry, what were you going to say, Ross?
I was just going to say I've still got all of the flyers. I've still got about 300 flyers under my bed, waiting to just give them away.
Question is why? Why are you doing that? All these runs you've been doing, Ross, all these walks you've been doing. Hand them out, mate. Hand them out. COVID safe, obviously.
Yeah, what are you doing, bro? Like, what's going on?
I can't hand them out.
Throw them from 2 meters.
Just paper cuts.
Spray them
around Sussex. Yeah, man. So at 9:25, we pick up the episode. We start it. We're running into the beginning of the episode, Dangerlings. I can't believe this. I love the dock sounds. I found these dock sounds, put them underneath. I thought that was really cool. I love that. Filton Leg's got a sign hanging from him, saying we protect our own, and the people are all looking up at him. He's got a scarf on at the carnival. All the crowd are gathered there. And, we're looking at this horrible sight of this person hanging from a lamppost. This murder's happened. And Fulton turns around to someone, to Melinda Carlisle, her name is, and says, "Can you get me any shiver?"
Hey, don't do all the legwork that Dan wants us to do. Just go straight to someone and ask them for shiver. That's what you got to do.
The Filton legwork.
Ooh.
See what I did there?
Yes. I feel cowardly actually. Let's not. I feel cowardly that I didn't develop an entire separate plot thread where Fulton constantly keeps getting hold of drugs without ever finding the supply train. So we can have this thing where Fulton becomes addicted to shiver and has to go through that along with the rest of the adventure.
Yeah.
So that would be like a Breaking Bad storyline with Fulton.
Some interesting things you wanted to happen to Fulton, isn't there? In a later episode, I remember you telling me about if he gets bitten by a certain monster, then Fulton will just be a head on wings for the rest of the podcast. We're going to talk about that in a later episode of Danger Recall, but we're going to talk about your monsters as we go along. We can't talk about it now, but that is amazing. All right, the sheriff turns up and says she's going to arrest the carnival. Let's face it, she's an idiot. Do you know what I mean?
There is... Sorry, mate. Yeah, it's one of them NPCs, isn't it? I was listening back to it today, and you're like, yeah, from Dan's point of view, you're like, you've got this NPC who has got a thing that they need to do and a certain mindset and how they need to do it, and then these idiots turn up. And unbeknownst to her, they've hit upon the right thing to do, but they're idiots from her point of view. So you just have this immovable force meets irresistible, etc. You know what I'm talking about. And I was listening back to the whole thing, and I had so many notes, and I scribbled them out, and I wrote again, I scribbled them out, and all I've just written is Sheriff Feldane one of those NPCs.
yeah, man. I mean, I wrote idiot, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she is, but she can't help. That's not really her fault, is it? Like, we can all see that and live it and do the role play for that moment because she's doing that thing and it gives a nice bit of drama. But from her point of view, she can't. It's not like she's choosing to be a blinkered or ignorant or anything like that. She's trying to do a job in the only way that she can be. I'm very reasonable as a player, not as Caragor. I'm not reasonable as Caragor. I'm very reasonable as a player.
Yeah, she's like you say, she's doing what she's playing the hand that she has in front of her, and she's never, this is a tiny little fishing town. They've never had anything like this happen before, and then the only people who think that they've got a solution to it are you guys who. I mean, a lot of that is predicated on your first meeting with her when you guys tried to shake her down for money when she was giving you things. So she's kind of like, if you've got like that, in a game you'd have like a bar of how much they like you. Hers is already down the bottom like every time she meets you. So she's like, oh, these guys again. But yeah, she is kind of an idiot, but she has no reason not to be at this point.
You could say that mashup of idiot meets idiot is a bit like freelancer meeting salary worker, where the adventurers of the freelancers being like, no, we go and find a job and then we get paid for it, and the salary worker's like, that's not how it works. And that's basically how that conversation went. We were like, well, we need to get paid, and Sheriff Eldane's like, nah, you get paid somewhere else, don't you? Just doing this, aren't you?
And this is why our conversations with people from Universal Credit is so difficult during the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen. We need to change this. Ian Duncan Smith, if you're listening to this, you set this up. Yeah, it's your fault, all right? I'm not having a go, but fucking hell.
If you are.
Ian Duncan Smith, if you're on our Patreon, bump up your tier a little bit. £5, come on, get a t-shirt.
What the fuck, IDS? What's going on? Yeah. Anyway, so Dellison's to be arrested. I love the fact, Dan, at the moment, you're still explaining the rules, which is really nice. Because we're only on episode 12, and I am still a novice. I'm still going to say it, still a novice.
Mate, come on, man. Like, listeners, like, Colin played Pathfinder with us for like a year before we started the podcast. It was
like 3 games.
It wasn't 3 games. You had a character arc. We encountered the main BBEG together.
You're never gonna be called a novice in our eyes.
I played like half a game with you, and then you thrust me into this podcast.
It's a lie. That is a lie.
I rolled a dice once. Yeah,
mate,
and it was a D10. How many times did they come up?
Hey, you run your own games now. You ran a game of kids on brooms. So come on.
What? I'm still yet to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, you almost did.
Nice one, Ross.
Yeah, thanks for putting my anxiety out there.
You want a scandalous DM admission? I have no idea what BBEG means.
Wrong answers only. Brazen balls emptying gourds.
I mean, you did fight a gourd with no balls in that campaign. I do remember that. It's a great encounter.
Tweet us if you know what BBEG means.
BBEG. Thank you. All right, like I've got to move on. We're 20 minutes into this part of Danger Recall, okay. Danger Leaks. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to apologise. I don't know why I'm apologising, actually. What's going on? It's my show. I can do what I want. Like, yeah, we're going to go long on this one. Who cares? All right. I said mainly for me. Yeah, we do a heel check. He was strangled before he was hanged. We find that out. And we find a fortune teller's card with a sphinx. And the sheriff is all like, "Oh, it's the carnival. It's the carnival." And we're like, "No, it's definitely not the carnival. Can't you see that this is so like, trying to set people up? It's so obvious." The note, Arnahim Brayton is. We find a note on him. Sorry, and it's Arnahim Brayton. The shipper Filton has been hired by Arnahim Brayton. So we try and explain how silly this theory is, and there's a whole bit with you can't handle the truth. Ross, would you like to explain where that's from?
Oh, yes. It's from a film.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's from a film with Tom Cruise.
It is Tom Cruise.
Yeah. It's called A Few Good Men.
Well done.
And it's got... Who's on trial? I think it's
Tom Cruise is actually on trial at the time, and Jack Nicholson is.
Yes, he's the other way around. No, it's the other way around. He and Jack Nicholson house. He's the sort of general guy. He's being put on trial, and then like there's a really cool court scene where Tom Cruise is like, you did it, you killed those soldiers, you bloody idiot. And then Jack Nicholson's like, you want the truth? And then he's like, yeah, I want the bloody truth, come on, give me the bloody truth. And he's like, you want the truth? You can't bloody handle the truth. And then like there's like,
great impression.
and then everyone goes,
what is it?
Impression.
It's
I was
what is it
expecting
you
a-
want? What is it you want? I
Yeah.
want the truth.
want the
you
truth,
can
yeah.
handle the truth.
there you go. And that's
Amazing.
from a film.
Can't handle the truth.
I remember being so happy that Scott grabbed that when it was like, there's so many times that one of us like throws a joke up in the air for somebody else to hit the punchline for it, and it turns into like the Baby Groot bit where they're like, they throw the thing up and the other person comes back with like a leg and they're like, is this the answer you were looking for? So that time it was like, yes, spiked it.
It
Right, I love
was
this
as
little
well.
bit of confusion as well. We got to move on. I love this little
Right.
bit of confusion where M turns around and goes, "Oh, thank you for your time," and walks off. And Scott, as a player, you're like, like M's really sucking up. And actually, what I was doing is I was
Don't defend it now. It's too late. You defended it at the time. You can't defend
I
it
defended it at the time.
retroactively.
No, because I'm defending it because it actually comes from something. This is a real deep dive. If you spotted this, then you are a winner, Dangerlings, on my team. Seriously. This is from The Office. There's a scene in episode 5 of season 2, the comic relief episode, where Neil and the character, if you've never seen The Office, there's two characters that are higher up bosses than the boss, David Brent.
The UK
These
office.
the UK office, sorry.
yeah.
And two characters are about to make him redundant, okay? And they tell him he's going to be made redundant, and he kind of flips and goes, "Get out of my office, get out of my office." And as Neil is walking out, the superior of David Brent, he says, "Thanks for your time," under his breath, in a real British kind of out of order way. And that's what I was doing. It was a reference to that. So if you caught that, well done. If you didn't,
Wow.
I think
thanks,
I
Scott.
did. I think I looked at you when we did it, because I'm a big fan of The Office.
I think we did have a little wink.
Yeah.
as well.
It's cool. It's one of MZ's character references, character inspirations should be David Brent from The Office. You're right. That's a big hook for him. It's a big pillar.
Well, you've missed it because there was actually Neil Godwin.
I haven't watched a lot of The Office, as you might be able to tell. But what I do see on my brief time spent on Hinge is that a lot of people based in London say that they prefer the American Office to the UK Office.
Madness, yeah, I know.
Get
I
out.
assume this is some kind of blasphemy amongst Office fans.
There's loads of office groups on Facebook. If you join them, Dangerlings, you can see the amount of abuse that people... But it's all done in Office quotes. So someone will put up, "I think the Office US is better than the Office UK." And then people will have a string of Office quotes saying, "Oh, that's mental," and stuff like that.
They're such different shows, though. They're like, you can
Man,
barely
mad
compare them.
different
Yeah.
So different.
Anyway, so it was a funny bit of radio. I like that, Scott. That was fun to listen to. It's like emails signed off regards, and then we find out that, Scott, actually you do that quite a lot, didn't you? I think this is why we didn't get any replies early on in the Danger Club from our email address.
It's just in my early emailing thing, whenever I used to write to like agents and stuff, I never knew how to sign off. He was like, "Thanks," or "Yours, hopefully," and I hated both of them.
Yeah.
So I always just sort of bail on it. And now I just write "Cheers." That's all I've got.
Yeah.
Cheers. What?
Good ones to do. So, Care Margot's mentioned for the first time as well, which is kind of nice. We talk about going to the mansion. Caragor says he's still thinking about what was said last night to Shania, and then decides to leave it. Shania can't remember what she said, so she knows she's had a few drinks and she's kind of maybe messaged him. We have the knockers bit, which is brilliant.
Have we had the bit where Shania talks about telling Feldane about about Ica yet?
No, that's not.
Where she suggests does that come up later?
That comes up later, I think. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, is it in
Okay,
this
cool.
episode? I didn't catch
I've
that.
got it in
That's
my
this
notes as
episode.
something that happens in this episode. That Shania says we should tell the sheriff about Ica and the Sphinx not being real because it gets out. Because I really like that. I like that the main quest
yes.
kind of has like a B option. Like it has a it's got a way that you can complete the quest but like the carnival lose as a result of it. Like you can kind of it's got your kind of like, we can't complete the main thing, so we'll take the easy out, and we get it, because that's a real fun temptation to have for your players, of just kind of like, we could just do this one and we still sort of win, and do we really care about them? Because it kind of encourages the players to kind of to push on, to be like, okay, we're going to do the harder thing to help people. I really like that you got that sort of tiered reaction to it.
I really like that too, and we could have just thrown the carnival under the bus, pretty much. Going back to our knockers bit, got
to get back to the knockers.
The good
Ross,
stuff.
This
the good
was
stuff.
Inspired, mate. Inspired. Very British humour, isn't it?
Yes, it's very much a carry-on sort of vibe of comedy. Carry-on films, if no one knows what they are, they were like during all the way from like, I guess the 60s, like 60s, 70s, all the way to like 1980. They were very much like, oh, hello, governor. Oh, you got a lovely pair of juicy melons there. And like they're holding a pair of melons or something, and it's all like that sort of humour. And knockers, if for anyone that's not British, are another word for a lady's memories. Memories like the corners of my mouth.
This would be a scene in Carry On. Do you know what? I wrote down Carry On as well, which is very funny. Full of double entendres, naughty sort of British old school jokes, a bit of music hall. It's kind of inspired by music hall. We did a big deep dive on that a few episodes ago, so you can go back and listen to that. It's actually the second longest British film series, but has the most films. The first is James Bond. That's the longest running series, but it has fewer films. And then I do an impression of Sid James, who was in most of these films, and he has a laugh like that and always does loads of dirty jokes. Anyway, Shania says, look at the door, let's kick in the door. Fulton goes and pushes it before Caragor can kick in the door, which is a lovely little moment where he kind of stumbles in. And then a pellet explodes and we all get blinded. Well, a few of us get blinded for a round, and the four men come out and we have to fight them. And then it's all combat from the rest.
I was really happy with that, because it's because this ambush is like, it's set up so that it's a foilable ambush. Like they lay out the adventure lays out where all of the thugs are and what their plan is and how they're going to do it. But it is kind of set up that, like, if you case the joint first, if you do a lap of it and search really well, you might find the guy hiding in the bushes right by because he's like in a bush next to the door while you're kicking it in, waiting to jump you from behind. So it's done so that you can, if you're sort of SWAT team about it, take them down and spoil the ambush. But it's more fun if you fall for it. And so as soon as Caragor sees the door and runs at it, I'm just like, lovely. Yeah. We're going to get to do the explodey thing and have everything play out this way.
And I love the fact that in this moment you say, this might be Caragor's downfall, kicking these doors.
Yeah, I'd flag that as well as like a bad omen.
And we're going to come back to that in the next episode because something else happens. Anyway, it's quite fun. It's no bad things. Shania gets confused of her left and right. Do you know this is quite a common thing? 19.5% of college professors get their left and right confused, as opposed to 26.2% of college students. This was a study done on about 1,000 people. So there you go. I can get up those results and put them on the Discord if you want. It was only one study anyway, but I think it's quite common. Now, I would go through all of the kind of bits, all the hits and stuff like that, but I think we're running out of time, so we're kind of going to I'll just pick up the big things. Fulton kills a guy, and then we have a little deep dive, a little reference to I Can See Clearly Now. Someone sings that. I can't remember who it is, but I think it's Ross.
Probably.
Great song.
Yeah.
Originally by Johnny Nash, recorded in 1971, possibly the best version. It's been covered by numerous people, including Lee Towers in 1982, which it was a hit in America. And of course, Jimmy Cliff in 1993, recorded for the soundtrack of
no idea.
Cool Runnings.
Oh, what? How did I not know that? I love that movie. I literally saw that the other day.
I know.
I love that movie so much.
That's the reason I kind of paused, because I thought you were going to get that, Dan. Dan's been on a chat, like we've been on a chat talking about Cool Runnings and saying how it's so nice that we've got this early 90s film which is still really, really good and still really heartwarming, and it hasn't got really any horrible thing. You know, when you watch an old film, sometimes you're like, oh shit, that's not good anymore. It's like, whatever. This film is just sick. It's just really, really nice. If you haven't seen this film, it's about the 1988 Winter Olympics team. It's an amazing film. Go and watch it. It is so heartwarming. The last time I saw that film, I was on a plane, and I don't know, something about the altitude makes you emotional anyway. So I was in just streams of tears. Just oh my god, it's amazing. But it is brilliant. It is such a brilliant film. M crits a guy. Severs a guy in half, which is kind of nice. Velda casts Ray of Frost, which I think is the first time Velda cast that spell. I might be wrong about that, but I think
it's because he took forever to get to all of the other fights. So I think this is the first time he actually has a chance to do something aggressive.
And then Karagor kills the last guy. I think there was another guy. There was another kill in there somewhere, but Karagor kills the last guy.
Well, it's Velda. It's the first kills for Karagor. If I look at the Danger Club Justifiable Homicide Tracker, which I renamed because you didn't like murder, it's the first kills for Karagor and Velda of the podcast.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
Shania Rain's still not on the board.
And then we get the slow clap, which was brilliant, Dan. Well done. And really came out on the audio well there. And then Fulton, I'm only joking, we were still getting used to our mics and stuff like that. That's no disrespect to anyone. I think what Dan did at the time, because I was so like, don't clap, don't high five on the mics, Dan tried to do it away from his microphone and it just didn't pick it up at all. So
it didn't. I like started half doing it, then I was like, oh no, I can't do slow claps, Colin will put it in. Then I was thinking, where on earth is Colin going to find a slow clap sound effect to put in? And then I just kept going.
Yeah, it was quite funny. But then who do we have at the top? Standing there slow clapping.
Bumholio.
Arne.
We don't see.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was Arnahim Brayton.
No, that's whose house we're in.
It's Fulton Battlestone.
Fulton
Battlestone is standing
literally
there
you, Ross.
Mate, slow clapping.
No, it's
that's the end of the episode.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I really like this episode. There's a reason I really like this episode from a sort of story point of view, because it goes to kind of part of why I picked this adventure as our first one from when we were doing it, because it's the first episode where you guys as a group start to really get a hold of this idea that everyone is being manipulated by an outside force. There's been kind of, throughout the early ones, we've had kind of, oh, it's the carnival's fault, or oh, this town are just dumb hillbillies, it's the town's fault, and it's kind of here that you're like, no, there is someone deliberately like stoking these tensions and riling people up and setting them against each other, and it's not necessarily that either side is in the wrong. And that was kind of because you got to remember when we recorded this, it's 2018, so it's a couple of years after Brexit. It's right in the middle of all of that kind of muck, and this idea that there can be a kind of a force that is just kind of stoking hatred among two different groups is a real kind of prescient thing. So I was like, cool, let's do an adventure about that and see what's going on. And then was terrified in the early episodes when you guys were like, yes, we will hate. Like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that was kind of mirroring what was going on in the world as well. I love that when your game sort of does that. All your references as well are like what we're watching at the time. You'll hear a lot more sort of Rick and Morty and stuff at this sort of time. And things that are in our, kind of ether. But that's it. Yeah. Any other points to make about this episode?
Just wanted to do a shout out to Drum for attempting a misty-eyed montage flashback whilst in the middle of battle. Because, as Dan points out, we do rush into this combat, perhaps because we are a little trigger-happy at this point, having done a bit of stealth, subterfuge, working things out, diplomacy, placating people and that kind of thing, and then we kick the doors down, then ambush triggers off, everyone goes, yes, fine, combat, and then halfway through the combat, Drum goes, I remember back in my youth.
Yeah.
And we're all of us are like, hang on a minute, it's not the time
Now's
and
not
place.
the time.
And Trump's like, fine.
Yeah, he
really
gets so
annoyed.
annoyed.
It's because we know how long it will be if it's a backstory from Drummond. You know, Drum doesn't know what his attack modifier is, but he does know the last 6 years of story.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why
right,
his
right.
character moments are so good.
What I love about that is like when you start doing the impression of what he was going to do, that's exactly what he was going to do. Here I am, standing next to a monkey in a fight. Like he was like, yeah, that's what I was going to do. Oh, fuck it, leave it, forget it.
Got to bear in mind that Shania's like the oldest of the group as well, so her backstory, I mean, that we now know, well, could feasibly have been the longest one yet. You know, it would have been epic, a saga.
Yeah. All right, Ross, anything to say?
No, nothing much left to say, surprisingly for me.
Well, that was episode 12. That was, well, let me rephrase this, Dangerlings. That was part 10 of Danger Recall, where we talked about episode 12 of the Danger Club podcast. Thank you to my guests, Scott.
Poo, 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 poo.
And Ross.
Poo, 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 poo,
And
poo.
Dan.
Pooh and
I'm Colin Hubbard. This was Danger Recall. Enjoy yourself, Dangerlings. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Cheers, stay recall.
Awesome. All right. So this is Danger Recall part 10, and we are talking about episode 12, maybe 13. Yeah. Cool. That wasn't the intro.
the most low key.
Imagine that. Yeah. Maybe I'll put this as like a little outtake afterwards.